Thank you, Max. Hi, everyone. My name is Jimena Queiroz. I'm the head of creative here at Faire, and I'm very, very excited to be here with you today to talk about something really fun. We're going to talk about trends right now. In my role, I see a lot of products. My team merchandises a ton of products for campaigns, content, events, you name it. And to be able to do that job right, we need to always keep an eye on what's trending and know what's going on. So today I'm especially excited to be here with the amazing Carly Miller-Chen. She is the owner of apparel store IE in San Diego. And Carly is an entrepreneur, a creative director that after 10 years as a creative director and a creative executive in the retail industry, has now pivoted into retail. So she builds communities with conscious retail in mind. Welcome, Carly.
Thank you so much for having me. Excited to talk today.
Awesome. Well, let's get into it. Before we go into our trends today, first I want to set us up and set the table for what we can expect for the other half of 2025. Show of hands, has anybody heard of the term the lipstick effect? No? Oh, a couple hands there. Awesome. Also in the chat, if you've heard of it too, just let us know. Carly, have you heard of it?
Just a little bit, but I'm excited to hear a little bit more.
Amazing. Well, let me break it down for you guys. This is a trend in consumer behavior that generally surfaces during a little bit of economic uncertainty. And what it says is that basically people will stop spending in big ticket items. Think of course, your homes and cars, but also expensive vacations or even like TVs and like big electronics. But they will spend more and they will be likely to spend a little bit more in smaller indulgences, hence the name, like lipstick, right? That also applies to trends. Smaller items that are trending are part of this effect too, because it basically taps into a fundamental need for belonging. And even during financial stress, people do want to feel connected to cultural moments. So that's what trends do for them. So today, what I really want to do is share with you guys what's trending and also to help you deliver more value for your customers across 4 categories. We're going to do for home decor, we're going to do gifts, apparel, and food and drink. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's get into it. All right. We're going to start bold. This is what's trending in home decor. It's basically a color, Ravishing red.
Such a fun way to start the day.
Right?
Yeah,
with a little pop of color. Yeah. Well, we spotted this trend at the beginning of January, and he hasn't shown any signs of slowing down. We started seeing apparel use red a little bit in darker shades, but right now we're seeing indie brands really picking up in the shade and like making it really bright and red and poppy. There's even a design theory around this. There's something called the unexpected red theory. And an interior designer, her name is Taylor Simon, went super viral on TikTok talking about how adding a little pop of red into any interior space will make that space feel a lot more special, interesting, and especially if you add it in a corner where it's not really expected or to an item that is really surprising. So how do you see this trend showing up in your shop?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most searched for colors in our shop. Whenever we have a piece that's a bright red color, it sells out immediately.
Yeah.
I think that we get a lot of customers looking specifically to branch out with the color red.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at the numbers. So the numbers are in fact backing that up. On Faire, we're seeing retailers are really looking for searches around red, around specific colors like cherry and strawberry are picking up. And we started seeing this trend in January, like I said, with more of like a burgundy color, but really now we've evolved into this really poppy cherry and strawberry red. Great, let's take a look at products. So, like I said, this trend has a really big moment in home. I am personally obsessed with this heirloom tomato candle by Scandals. I have a couple at home. I don't even burn them because they even smell so good just without lighting them up. They're really a great way to light up your room. Yeah.
Totally. I love the concept of unexpected red in home goods and in apparel. I think this sconce by Misewell is something I would put in my home for sure. The ceramic industrial nature of it just feels really clean and well designed.
Yeah, it feels really fresh at the same time too. That. And of course you can see red being applied to your staples in home decor, stuff like your cushion covers or even throw blankets. And when we go across categories, we can also see red popping up in other categories like apparel and even food and drink.
I love this I love this selection. I think my favorite definitely has to be the Dakota bag.
Yeah.
I love that 90s kind of vintage inspired bags are making a comeback. We're seeing a lot of shoulder bags.
Yeah.
This one's really great.
I really love those little strawberry earrings, but actually my favorite here of this set is that Lapos non-alcoholic Negroni. I also have it. It's really one of my favorite products. And it is non-alcoholic, but it actually feels like drinking the real thing. And it does have a little bit of a bite to it. So you really enjoy it, yeah.
Yum.
Great. Okay, so Carly has actually picked her own selection here, and she's gonna walk us through it.
Like I said, this one was easy for me because I love red so much. These picks are great for retailers who want to maybe try out a red piece of the trend, but not jump right in. These ones are centered more around kind of the range of a product, longer shelf life, things that can kind of last and supplement to your core selection. Great red nail polish. Everyone loves a red pop. It's a good way to test it out, even better that it's toxin-free. And then the Wiesel Studio necklace, I think, is maybe my favorite pick from this selection. It kind of gives that like coastal grandmother heirloom element while adding a pop of red without having to full send it. And then a quality sock. I think a quality sock is a huge seller for us. We can't keep a red sock in stock. It's probably the most sought after colorway by far. And then for the entertainers, I think this squiggle picture is so festive and a perfect pop for a tablescape during the summer months. So yeah, just lots of fun pops of color.
Everybody loves a red sock.
Absolutely.
Right. Well, that takes us to our second trend and what's trending in apparel. Leopard and cheetah are really back in 2025, but they're back with a little bit of a fresher and modern twist.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those trends that can be a little intimidating for people, but there are definitely ways to make it work for your customer that feel approachable.
Yeah, in fact, they're showing up everywhere. They're showing up in tailor suits, in scarves, in home decor, and the numbers are backing it up. eBay reported that leopard print coats, the searches for it jumped around 300% last year, proving that the trend has really stayed in power. So, and the numbers of Faire are showing the same trend. We're seeing triple-digit growth across both leopard and cheetah as search terms. Great, and let's take a look at the products.
Yeah, the leopard trend is a great example of how customers can incorporate more adventurous pieces into their wardrobe. It can be intimidating, but I think our best-selling item this winter was a barrel leg jean that was this beautiful leopard print, very similar to this one from Audi on the left.
Yeah, and I never thought I was bold enough to wear this. But like looking at the denim shirt by Aaron and Amber, it's making me feel like maybe I can pull it off.
You totally could style it with a little jean and a t-shirt. You'd rock it.
Yeah, I think it's very versatile.
So fun.
Yeah, you can definitely dress it up and down. I mean, you can wear it with a ruffle dress or even like a denim skirt, and you can take it all the way to accessories. Speaking of accessories, here you can see how the trend is actually showing up more as a detail in a more subtle way. Take, for instance, the Black Mules by Leopard. That's like a really fun way to add a little bit of flair to any outfit with very minimal effort. It's also like an easy way to get into the trend if you feel that it's a little bit intimidating for your customers. And also you can take it even to home decor with this bookend set by 8 Oak Lane. It's really not the print itself, but it's the theme of the leopard. That's another way, another fun way of being subtle about the trend, but still incorporating it within your inventory.
Yeah.
Yeah? Amazing. Okay, Carly.
All right. Well, I see people asking in the chat about jewelry trends. I'm seeing leopard trends pop up in jewelry as well. One of my picks was actually these cheetah charms. I think it's a good way. It's a nod to the trend. Obviously, it's not super cheetah print, but it kind of would be a great stack layered with some of your classic necklaces. I also had this mesh leopard skirt chosen. No Less Than is one of the brands we carry in our store, and it's amazing. They have really inclusive size range. It's just chef's kiss styled with a pair of flats and an oversized button down. And then we're also hat people at Audi, so we love any kind of hat. This corduroy one stuck out to me, another kind of perfect play to the trend without being fully a leopard print. And then lastly, the leopard tote. I think for folks who maybe don't want to commit to like the pant trend, it's a good opportunity to kind of like accessorize, throw everything in the tote, and elevate any outfit.
Yeah. And I think I saw on the chat people asking about jewelry trends.
Yeah.
Well, then let's talk about jewelry. Let's talk about what's actually trending in gift, and it's all the charms. It's this trend that is fueled by a little bit by nostalgia, but it's coming back in a bolder and like more customizable way. So retailers can really feel in this chaotic customization moment that is going on right now. and actually basically help your customers build their own charm collections. It's a really fun way to continue driving engagement and driving sales over and over again.
Yeah, I love seeing the different creative ways that people are adopting applications of charms. I've seen people repurpose charm necklaces as belts. I've seen people add necklace pendants onto shoes. There's a lot of customizations that you can work with for sure.
Yeah, it's going on everywhere. And in fact, the numbers are saying the same thing. They're off the charts. So first charm is actually over 700% up from last year. And bag charm and just charm itself as a term is also trending upwards and continue to keep on going. So let's get into the products. So at the most popular level, people are using the charms as jewelry or in bags, right? Let's start with this like classic charm set by Token Jewelry. This is a bundle and it's like a really good way to help people start their collection. And it's a foundational piece for people to be able to add to everything that they want.
Yeah, you can turn almost anything into a charm at this point.
Yeah.
I love the Tamagotchi-inspired charms. As a 90s kid, I think this is just speaking to my heart. And the butter charm, butter yellow has been such a hype in everywhere, in addition to the red. So this is a really great way to kind of incorporate that into your charms collection.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's going beyond just jewelry and bag at this point. Did you say something about adding it to shoes?
Yeah, kind of like a maximalist trend that I'm seeing a lot of. There's a lot of customization in the footwear world, whether you can add kind of, ribbon laces or pendants or charms. A fun option to, give to your customer is this sneaker accessory kit. It comes with the ribbons and that cute pearl bow. It's just a fun way that people can kind of personalize their everyday wear.
Yeah, we're also seeing it being added to tech. So if you take a look at the crossbody phone strap by Eye Candy Los Angeles, that is like a nice way to add a little bit of charm to your devices, but it also acts like a foundational piece to continue adding charms to. So it's like buildable, which is the really nice part of this trend.
And I'm always losing my phone, so I feel like a strap is great. Have
Yeah.
it connected to me at all times.
100%.
Yeah, so like I said, I love seeing charms in unexpected places. This lucite knot keychain is such a clean design. I could see it attached to a bag or even on your keys. And then initial charms, you could represent somebody you love, your pet, on a little Wolf Circus pendant chain. It's so cute, it's so unique. The blob letters really are just so chic. And maybe the coolest application I've seen in all of our charm research has been this Karst Essentials clip. It's so cool that you can accessorize your accessories. So yeah, I think that's a trend that will continue to grow.
It's super meta.
Everybody needs accessories, including
Put a
your
charm on a
accessories.
charm.
Yeah, exactly. And then lastly, the carabiner chain. I think when I think about trends, I like thinking about it as the long-term shelf life, how we can reincorporate trends as the cycle continues. And I think it's such a great blank canvas where you can kind of collect charms as you go, find things that you love, clip it on your necklace, and kind of build your own charm necklace for the day.
Yeah, I think that's like the real power of this trend, that it's like buildable and almost like a never-ending collection.
It's personalized. I love it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, this brings us to our last trend of the day. And it's rethinking, we're calling it rethinking drinking, but it's all about functional beverages. And this is not entirely new. We've been seeing the non-alcoholic beverage trend popping up, but now it really is around functionality. So it's less about, skipping the booze, and it's more about choosing drinks that will do something really good for your body, right? So in fact, mushroom coffee, probiotic sodas, kombuchas, are actually the new go-tos, really popular with the Gen Z crowd because they're really excited about gut health and mental clarity. Kombucha alone is now a $4 billion market. And the entire functional beverage market is projected to hit $175 billion this year alone. And the numbers of Faire are actually backing that up. So we're seeing a big rise in searches for mushroom coffee, kombucha, and the prebiotic soda brand Poppy. Those searches are off the chart.
I love Poppy.
I love Poppy too.
It's my favorite drink.
Great. So let's take a look at products. So the power of this trend is like blending flavor with well-being. So it's a trend that makes you feel good, indulgent into. You have your classic kombuchas into prebiotic sodas, but it can be beyond that. It can go into your daily rituals, like this cocoa mushroom blend. It's like a hot cocoa made with adaptogens that you can use to replace your morning coffee or even at night to wind down.
It's delicious, yeah. And summer is here. I think people just want to sit outside, sip on something bubbly, and it's a good opportunity to kind of bring in a non-alcoholic version. So the Uso green tea mint limeade is delicious. I think it's a great option for folks who are either reducing drinking or wanting an alternative.
Yeah, that sounds really yummy.
Yeah.
And amazing. And then you can bring it beyond beverages too. So brands are actually adding the superfoods and adaptogens into many different other products. So we can be, treats, gummies. I'm actually very excited about these brain boosting gummies by Mojo Gummies. They're a blend of adaptogens. They boost brain function. They improve productivity. Who doesn't need that? And also, who doesn't love gummies?
I love a gummy.
Yeah.
All my vitamins are gummies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the idea of greens on the go too. I also am just classically bad at taking my vitamins and getting all my greens. So I think the superfood powder is such a good option to provide to customers that want to experiment, try it out, and see how they like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun way to eat your greens. Great.
Yeah. So for my picks, I think in this climate, like everybody said, we all need a little bit of stress relief. So Sidekick Spray is genius. I think it's beautiful packaging that makes me want to take a little spritz on the go, throw it in your bag. And then adaptogens, I've actually had these wooden spoons herbs before. They're distilled into kind of an herbal tincture, so you can add it to your smoothies, add it to your daily coffee, whatever you want. It's just a great formula. And then as someone with ADHD, I need some natural productivity support. So this gummy packaging really stood out to me. And then just the ingredients and nature of the product is a really solid option. And then I've never met a kombucha that I didn't like. And I think this bottle in general, I selected this one because it just would merchandise really beautifully. And the flavor combinations of Turbulent are just amazing.
Yeah, I'm a kombucha lover too.
Yeah.
We keep a couple over here too, and I'm always refilling my cup. Great. Well, those were 4 trends for the day. But knowing and understanding the trends are one thing. But like knowing how to actually you can adapt it to your store is an entirely different game, right? So here's where Carly is going to help us right now, because I want to ask her a couple of questions around her strategies and her own tips on how you adopt trends into your own merchandising.
Absolutely.
So let's start with what is your appetite, especially in like this sort of macroeconomic climate, for trends and for adopting trends into your inventory?
Yeah, I adopt trends mostly based on what feels authentic to our brand and our customer. You can probably tell from a lot of my picks that I like to choose things that can be adaptable and are incorporated in ways that feel a little more sustainable long term. I think, it's very easy to get caught up in the trend cycle, and not every single trend has to apply to every single shop, right? So, my ethos is to center the conscious consumption of trends. Obviously, people want to lean into a trend and experiment with different style pieces within their wardrobe or their home, whatever it may be. I think just editing and execution is really key. Just do what's authentic to your store and what feels natural. You probably can envision how something is going to merchandise or style into your collection of goods that you have.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And what would you say is the percentage of budget that you allocate to trends versus your normal staples?
Yeah, it's been a mix. It kind of changes over time. It depends on kind of what the trends are and how they resonate with the shop. But I'd say probably I'm allocating about 25% of my monthly budget to kind of accommodate the trends. Some of that splits, whether it's leaning really heavily into a trend that seems like it might just be around for a quick time, or finding pieces that are meant to expand on a wardrobe. So we have our core essentials that we constantly have in the shop that are always rotating, and then about 25% of those trends that we can kind of puzzle piece together to give the customer a fun way to expand on some of their core pieces.
That's super insightful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you use trends to attract customers and also maybe even increasing your average basket size?
Yeah, it's funny. We get a lot of discourse around trends with our customers. It's just a fun kind of discussion that we have with people. I'd say it's probably a bit of both, attracting new customers and increasing basket size. Like I said, a lot of new customers are likely going to find us through a trend, maybe something that's trending on social or something they see on our Instagram. But then the core customers and our returning customers will increase their basket size with the trend item. So if they've come to us for core essentials before, maybe they'll add on some trending items to expand on that look.
That is great. So it's
Yeah.
almost like a symbiotic relationship.
Totally.
Right?
And it's funny because people do have a lot of opinions about trends, especially like the low rise and Bermuda shorts that are coming back. I know a lot of folks in the early 2000s were scarred by that. So we try to find some fun ways that we can kind of make it accessible for folks and get them re-excited about some trends that maybe aren't for them. And again, not everything's for everybody, but we like to show the versatility of how trends can be adopted.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And on that note, what advice would you give here, folks over here, or folks watching us live, that about who might be a little bit trend averse around the power of trends and what they can bring to your business?
I would say trust your intuition. If you really don't vibe with the trend, you're probably not going to be able to sell it well, or authentically sell it. You know, I think if you want to push yourself or push the envelope a little bit, be more experimental with trends in your space. It doesn't hurt to try a test order. I think it was mentioned about kind of the lower minimums on Faire, which is super helpful for us if we're wanting to experiment with something. We don't have a minimum of $2,000, $5,000, whatever it might be. Okay. So just try it a little bit, and your numbers will prove to you if it's worth it or not. Buy into a small quantity, see how it does. Then if inventory doesn't move, that's your answer. Ask your team too. I think I have a lot of awesome people on our team. We all have varying styles, and so bring your team into the conversation, see how they would adopt the brand, and if it feels authentic to them, then it probably will with your customer. Because our customers are looking at us for guidance and styling tips, and so if they see that authentically adapted on our team, then they'll likely be down to try it for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking about bringing your team in and making sure that it lands with your customers, how do you actually make sure that it lands with your customers?
Visual aids are key. I think people like seeing how we style a piece. Going back to the Bermuda short example, a lot of people think like back in like the limited 2 days or like the cargo capri days, which is very different than how the trend is showing up now. A lot of that like 90s, 2000s influence is coming in, but we make sure it lands by just kind of visually showing people how you can style it. And so we do that on varying body types, varying styles, you know, something a little more edgy or something a little more, you know, preppy or femme. So I think social media is a huge factor for sure. That's something that we have to rely heavily on despite our woes with the platform and how visibility is kind of thrown off a little bit. So social media and events, honestly, we do a lot of events curated for our brands that we feature. Meeting the person that's making the product is really helpful for people to connect to the product and just build a relationship. I think that's the biggest thing for us, is spotlighting the brand and the essence that people want to connect with. You know, that's why we're in this business, is to connect people to really awesome product. And that's something that's really helped people resonate, not just with the product or the trend, but with the brand itself and kind of our mission of having a shop.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, what I've observed is that trends also are sort of like, they have a spectrum in which you can play with.
Totally.
And depending on that spectrum, you might find that, you know, a lower end of a spectrum where the trend is a little bit more subtle might work for your store, as opposed to like maybe the higher end of that spectrum where the trend is showing up in a really bold way. And that might be the way in which you also evaluate how the trend works for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like there's totally a build your own adventure for trends. It doesn't have to be 100%. It could be what feels good to you. And yeah, it truly is, you know, everybody's in this business to create their own unique identity, and, you know, that's why we're here to support each other. So it's fun to see how people adopt their variations. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that, Carly.
Of course.
Yeah. And thank you all for being here. I hope you've loved seeing all these trends and incorporate them into your inventory. If you're ready to do that, we are ready for you. You can scan this code right now. You can see the trends in action on Faire. And for the ones in the chat, our moderators will also send the link for you, so you have access to them too. And I want to, oops, did you guys get it? I'm going to go back and give you guys a minute to get it. Yes. Yeah, hold on a second. Amazing. Awesome. Lastly, before we wrap up, I want to share a couple ways in which you can actually continue, you know, getting trend information and seeing what's next in retail via Faire. So first is a Faire forecast. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but twice a year we'll put out this report, and the next installment is coming really soon in July, so keep your eyes peeled for that. It is essentially a report in which our editors look across all categories and they put together amazing recommendations for products that match emerging global trends. It's essentially a little bit of what we've done today here, and on like a 6 months basis, so that you have a sense of how to adapt the trends for your next buying season. Also, if you're not subscribed to the Faire blog, you're gonna want to be subscribed to it. Go to it and take a look at it, because every month we share a deep dive into core categories, and we share mini trends that are going on across that category. We dive deep into the recommendations for products, and we help you explore them. We help you break it down for you. Also, our social media channels are one of like the happiest and fun corners in the internet. I take pride on that myself.
Agreed,
yeah. And over there you can discover, we have a lot of highlights and like products that are trending, brands that are also really interesting, and you can just keep an eye on what's going on through our social spotlights. And lastly, you can always find what's trending on Faire itself. Like Max explained earlier, your feed is essentially personalized to your own unique needs, right? And we're doing improvements, like Max explained, every day now, especially with the advent of AI. But over there, you can actually find what's trending, and brands are adding products on a daily basis. So there's always something new to discover on your Faire feed. Awesome. So I want to thank you, Carly, for being here. I want to thank you all for being here and like paying attention to us today, talking about fun products. I loved having your insights. I love everything that you showed us. And if you all want to hear more from Carly, go follow her on Instagram. Her IG handle is @shop.ie. And I hope you were inspired and excited about your presentation today. Thank you so much. And
Thank you, everyone.
I'll now will pass it down to Lauren.